Hey, I'm Allison from Learning at the Primary Pond. I'm a literacy specialist, and in this quick video, I'm going to give you a roadmap to help take you from the very first day of school with your first or second graders to actually having small group and centers up and running. So this can seem like a daunting task at first, right? Because there's actually a lot to teach. There's your procedures for your centers or stations or whatever structure you use. There's the activities, like what are the kids actually going to be doing? And then even just how to work independently, how they can problem solve and get along with their peers. There's a lot to teach for one little block of time. So I'm going to help you with this by walking you through step by step so that you can ease into small group at the beginning of the year and feel super organized doing it. So step one is just to decide what you want kids to be doing in centers eventually once they're up and running. So you have to kind of think to the future and come up with, those routines or those activities that they're going to be doing repeatedly. So this might be something like making words with magnetic letters or just reading independently or reading with a partner or some kind of writing activity. Then at the beginning of the year, I don't start off small group and independent work right away. What I do instead is I spend multiple weeks teaching each one of those activities one by one. At this point, don't worry about introducing actual centers or rotations or any of that stuff. Just focus on how to do each activity. So when I'm teaching this stuff, I'll introduce an activity, I'll tell the kids what my expectations are, and then everybody in the class practices at once. So again, they're not rotating or anything like that yet. You're probably going to have to do each activity more than once so that the kids can become truly independent with it. And again, you're thinking about things they're going to be able to do repeatedly once they're in centers. And I would also recommend letting them explore. So if you're going to have them make words with magnetic letters, great. Give them one, 5-10 minute period to just explore the magnetic letters and play with them and make words. And then maybe the next time you introduce them, they're actually making some high frequency words or whatever you want them to do. So give them a little time to explore. One easy way, if you're trying to figure out what activities the kids should work on independently, one easy way to come up with differentiated independent activities is to base them on what you're doing with the kids in small group. So again, you're kind of thinking to the future because we're not pulling small groups yet. But maybe, eventually you'll have kids in a small group and, for example, they might read this passage. This is a first grade passage from our first and second grade literacy club materials for July 2021. And then afterward, they are supposed to answer this little writing activity about the passage. So they would take the passage, you would give them this writing activity, and then that becomes a center activity. Or maybe your word work with them was building CVC words, and then they are supposed to do this, say, tap, write, CVC word activity. So at the end of the group, you give the kids this activity, give them the directions, and then they go off and do it. Now, you might have kids that are a little more advanced, so they might be reading a little bit of a longer passage, and then for this example, from the first and second grade literacy materials, they're reading about school in Japan, and then there's this fictional letter that has some vocabulary words missing, some information related to the passage, and the kids have to use the word bank to fill in the letter, and then they can read it a couple of times. So again, we're basing the independent activity off what they did in small group, which can really be a time saver for you. So just one last example here. Once kids are able to summarize, and again, they're reading at a little bit of a higher level, something you can do over and over again is just have them write a summary of a story that they read in small group or something you did whole group, and it's just somebody wanted but so. Okay, so something you can repeat or have them do with multiple stories. So again, all of these things, we're reading a passage in small group, and then I'm giving them independent work that has to do with that passage. It's a time saver and also an easy way to differentiate. So again, at the beginning of the year, you're not pulling small groups, but maybe start thinking, like if you're in the first and second grade literacy club, the writing activities are pretty consistent. So maybe you model how to do that with all the kids, and then they all do a writing activity, or have them read a passage or book, like everybody reads something easy together, and then you give them an activity, and it's similar to what they'll be doing eventually. Okay, so moving on to stage 2. Once you've taught the kids multiple activities, then what you want to do is start teaching them your actual centers or independent work procedures. So things like, are you going to have them rotate? What if they have to go to the restroom If you have physical centers, where are they located? Where do they get out the materials? How do they put them all away? All that good stuff. So spend some time doing that. And at this point, actually put the kids in centers or stations or whatever. And you're not going to put like challenging activities for them yet. Just give them really simple stuff. Like maybe it's just make some words with magnetic letters or read a book, or, just very, very simple activities. Nothing that you've been teaching during stage 1. But in stage 3, then you bring the centers procedures and the literacy activities together. So if I have physical centers, I will open up each center one by one, and the kids, again, they know the actual like rotation and procedures, and now they know stuff to do, right? Because we've taught them those activities. So at this point, we're opening each center one by one because now they know all the little pieces of the puzzle. At this point, I'm actually still not pulling small groups. I wait a few days and I watch them in their centers as they open up. And once I see that they really can work independently, the goal is for them not to be coming to me. Once I can see that they can work independently, then I do feel comfortable starting with my small groups. And I may not have, if I eventually want a 45-minute block, maybe we just start with a 30-minute block and we work our way up from there. And maybe you only see 2 small groups at first, but eventually you see 3. You can start small and build your way up. But these 4 stages can help you, number 1, teach the activities, number 2, teach the actual center's procedures of how to rotate and all that good stuff. And then in stage 3, you're bringing them together. And in stage 4, the kids are independent and you can finally pull your small group. Yay. So all of these materials that I was showing you come from my 1st and 2nd grade literacy club. And that is a membership site for 1st and 2nd grade teachers. So our teachers in the club get new reading passages and tons of activities to go with them. So way more than you just saw here, but comprehension assessments, writing activities, phonics activities, and they get these all in their inbox on the 1st of each month. They also get a monthly professional development mini session with me. We do only open up the clubs to accept new members twice a year, in July and January. So to join the club or get on the wait list if it's not open right now, go to 1st and 2nd grade literacyclub.com, and I hope to see you inside the club.